going on, y'all? Happy 4th of July, I guess. So, I was trying to look into the correct information for this video, and it gets pretty deep. And I got a bunch of shit to do before work, but I wanted to sit down and record this video because it is the 4th of July, Independence Day. And on July 4th, 1776, we concluded a war that was started over a very minimal tax on tea and stamps. I think it started with stamps and then went to tea. But this war was started, again, the American people started this war against the British, and the men of this country fought for our rights to freedom and to not be taxed. Now, like all these years later, we're here in 2024 in America, and we, the American people, pay like 60% tax by the end of the day. Some people don't agree with that figure, but that's my personal assessment of it, because they take money from you pay income tax to the state and the federal government, and then you pay taxes on anything you spend that money on. Any small thing, you go buy a drink, you're paying like, I don't know what it is in most places. Where I'm from in Colorado, it's 8%. You're paying 8% sales tax. And then if you're able to save up enough money to get anything of real value, anything that actually matters, a car, a house, a property, anything like that, now you have to pay tax on that. So you have an additional tax that you have to pay on owning high ticket value items. And then, like, let's say you have a car and you have to pay property tax on your car. You have to pay tags, and you have to pay you pay car insurance, which you also pay taxes on. You have to buy gas, which you also pay taxes on. Any sort of repair, anything, you pay taxes on. It's crazy that once upon a time, the American people started an entire war over, I think it was like 3% tax. And we, the American people, are here getting fucked by the government day in and day out, while they take over half of our money, all of it. By the end of the day, they take fucking like all of it. And a lot of people, they just don't really seem to care. I mean, I'm sure all throughout the country today, there's people lighting off fireworks and eating hot dogs and drinking beer and hanging out with their family. And I mean, those things are important, especially the last one. Family time's important. And I understand where the sentiment comes from, because what can we do? We are all getting fucked. All of us. The American people. It's not white versus black. It's not fucking gay versus straight. It's definitely not men versus women. Whatever they think this whole thing that's going on in the world is. It's none of those things. Or here in the U.S. What it is it's the rich versus the rest of us. And by rich, I don't mean people who have enough money to afford a nice house and a nice car, people who worked for their shit. That's not what I'm talking about. Those are people who played the system and learned how to find their own comfortable little niche inside. I'm talking about the fucking mega rich. The people who are coming in and buying up all the farmland and all the homes, and having like slave bases off outside the U.S. and fucking the ultra rich. That's what it's about. It's the rich versus the rest of us. And the government is just, it's the subsidiary of the rich. It's just the hand of the rich to control the population. And no one really cares. I mean, and it drives me crazy. I look around at the world and everybody's so numbed. They're so brainwashed. And it's not even, it's like, I don't blame anybody for it, because it's not their fault. When you look at this giant wall of like this giant, we can't fight it financially. We can't fight it with firepower. There's really no way to fight it. And so that comes to the question of like, okay, so what can we do? And, if you look back at the Revolutionary War, what they did is they banded together as the American people, and they came together and they told the government, which at the time was the British government, they told them, fuck you guys. We're not fucking standing anymore. We are just not going to pay your taxes. And so the British came over and they're like, okay, well, we're going to kill you then. And we were like, okay, well, we got guns too. Check this shit out. And then we fought a war and we won because of the human spirit inside. That's why we won the war. We were just a bunch of fucking farmers and nobodies versus the great, vast British Army. I mean, another large portion is we had home field advantage. Honestly, that's why we won. Because back then, traveling across the ocean like that was like a multi-month thing, and like took a lot of food and resources. And by the time they got here, they were pretty diminished and weak. But when it comes to the modern day, what can we do? Well, I was watching this video the other day, and I looked into a little bit, and it's very interesting. So this guy was watching, he was saying that if 30 million Americans, just 30 million, that's what, like 10%, I think, like probably a little less, like 9-ish% of the population. If 30 million Americans just didn't go to work one day, if they just decided, no, not going to work today, the fucking economy would collapse. It would collapse. And I feel like that's a thing that we as the American people don't understand. We hold the power. The money that flows up, that gives them the power to keep us fucking slaves, we give them that money. And that's where it's hard, is we could do something about it, but the only way we could do something about it would be in vast numbers. We would need everyone to agree to not go to work, to stop paying taxes, to not buy things. But that's hard because people don't want to be uncomfortable. They're like, oh, what if I can't afford blah, 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 this thing I need? Well, you don't need it. You need food, you need water, you need shelter, and you need air. Those are like all you actually need to be alive. But we as the modern society have gotten so used and accustomed to our comforts that we're willing to just stay slaves for the sake of comfort. But you know, what can you really do about it? So enjoy your beer, enjoy your fireworks, enjoy your day of independence as we sink further and further into dystopian slaves than maybe a larger group of people has ever been before. But you know, happy 4th of July, I guess. Take care.